Hello there. This is Debbie Sassen, financial planner and money coach, helping you build a healthy and confident relationship with your wealth. And in today's video, I'm going to talk about 6 things your financial advisor might not be telling you. And let me tell you why I even thought that it was an important topic to discuss. And that is recently I was going over some of our financial accounts from when we started our investment history and process many years ago. And I was shocked that I looked at the fees that the investment manager was charging us, and he was charging us 2.33% per year on our investments. Now, if you invest $50,000 with an investment advisor, and he's taking, let's say, 2%, let's make the math easy, that means that you are going to be paying your advisor $1,000 a year, and that is going to significantly impact the amount of money that you're going to have at the end of your investment career. And it's not really an unusual thing, even in this day and age, to have an advisor who's charging so much. I was working with a client last year, and his advisor was charging 2.9% for the pleasure of investing his assets for him, the pleasure of investing his money for him. So what I would like to do is take you through a little example of how much your fees that you're paying to your investment advisor impact the total wealth that you're going to have at the end of your investment history. So I took a very, simple example. I said, let's say you have $50,000 and you have an advisor who's charging you 2% per year. There's a different advisor who's charging 1% per year, and there's a different advisor who's charging only 0.5% per year. And it's not uncommon these days with awareness all over the financial markets and people communicating by internet for advisors to have significantly lowered their fees to even that, 0.5% or 1% area. So let's say, for example, and I'm going to be assuming also that the portfolio is earning 10% interest. So let's say 2% per year fees on a $50,000 portfolio. At the end of 10 years, your portfolio is going to be about $106,000. Now, let's say, for argument's sake, you go to a different investment manager and he or she charges you only 1% per year. At the end of that 10-year period, your $50,000 will have turned into $117,000. So significantly more than that 2%. Now, let's say, for example, that your investment advisor charges you only 0.5% in fees. And again, you're investing over a 10-year period. Your $50,000 will grow to $123,000. So you can see from $107,000 to $123,000, the impact of different fees on your money and on your wealth for the future. Now, point number 2 that your investment advisor or your financial advisor is not going to tell you is that he doesn't have a crystal ball. So whether you go to the fellow or the woman who's charging you 2%, 1%, or 0.5%, nobody knows ahead of time how the financial markets are going to do. They talk with us with a lot of confidence, and they think that this is going to happen, and something's happening in Europe, and something's happening in Japan, and all sorts of different scenarios that may or may not play out. But the truth of the matter is that nobody really knows. Not my advisors, not your advisors, nobody's. So really, if you want to hold on to more of your wealth, I would strongly recommend that you find yourself an investment advisor who charges you lower fees, because that's the one thing that you can control. Now, point number 3, when it comes to financial advisors, they will often recommend mutual funds, and we talked about that, exactly what a mutual fund is, in last week's video, and or 2 weeks ago actually, and a mutual fund being a collection of different investments. And some mutual funds have what we call loads to get into them, meaning that you have to pay a fee in order to start investing in that mutual fund. So let's say, for example, that you have $100,000, using that because it makes my math easy. And there is a 5.75% load on the fund. And that's not uncommon, unfortunately, in the investment world. That means that instead of starting out by investing $100,000, you only start out by investing $94,250, right? Again, those loads significantly impact your money, and you are behind the 8 ball before you even get going. And loads can range from 1% all the way up to 5.25%. It's very, very common in the financial industry, and I encourage you to be on the lookout for funds with loads. Now, number 4, things that your advisor might not telling you, and that's something called churning the account. Now, advisors do have responsibilities, and they will get in trouble if they churn or trade your account too much. But if your advisor is getting paid for every time she or he buys and sells instruments, investments in your account, meaning there's a commission for buying and selling, there is a little bit of a conflict of interest on the part of the advisor to trade your account. Not too much, but just enough to get a little bit more fees into the coffers of that investment advisor. So if you have money invested, I really hope that you're following up and you're looking and seeing what's going on with your money and how often your financial manager is trading your account, being very, very wary that your account is not being churned. Okay, now number 5, something that you need to be aware of is that a financial advisor does not always optimize your portfolio for tax purposes. And let me give you an example from my investment history. Again, we went to an investment advisor, we had some money, and I don't remember the particulars of it anymore because it was much too long ago. But we ended up taking money out of a tax advantaged investment vehicle that we have here in Israel in order to invest it in something else that our advisor was recommending. And now I look at that and I could practically shoot myself in the head. If you can delay taxes, defer taxes as long into the future as you possibly can, that works to your benefit. Why do you want to pay taxes today if you can delay that long into the future? You want as much of your money growing and working for you as possible. And if you recall the example of my client who was paying 2.9% interest on his portfolio, when he moved his portfolio to a different investment advisor who was only charging about 1.1%. But what does the new advisor do? They want to start with a blank slate. So they sell everything that was there in the previous portfolio, and they buy totally new investments on behalf of their clients. And what does that mean? That means if you have any gains in your portfolio, it's going to be a taxable event. You will be paying taxes on the capital gains that you've generated from selling out of your old portfolio. And what I want to make sure that you're doing, if you're thinking of moving or transferring from one investment advisor to another investment advisor, you've got to talk to them about what the tax implications are of all of their financial decisions. Now, number 6 is that I want you to be aware of is that the financial advisor does not have your best interests in heart always. We want to really trust our financial advisors and make sure that she or he is doing the best thing for us as the client. But really, who's the person who has our best interest at heart? That's ourselves. And I really, really want to encourage you to take an upper hand and get involved and ask questions and really start looking under the hood of the car, looking under the hood of your investments to understand what's going on. Because as we've talked about a few times in this past month, whatever you have and can grow and develop with your money, that's going to have a profound impact on the way that you are able to take care of yourselves. So let me tell you about a webinar that I'm running. I ran one this week, and there was such a demand that I'm running it again next week on September 6th. It's called Entry-Level Investments for People Who Are Ready to Start. So I encourage you to look in the comment section below, sign up for the webinar. If you can't be there in person, there will be a replay, but come and join me. Entry-level investment for people who are ready to start. And thank you so much for tuning in today. If you have any questions or comments, please put them down below in the comment section. Thanks so much for being with me today. Bye.